And everybody's still a suspect, person of interest, however you want to put it. And we're still very intensely looking into it. What we need to do is preserve the integrity of this case because.
Well, yeah, I mean, we was in Arkansas, and when I just fell in love with her. I don't know, it's just one of the things we fall in love with somebody, and we tried everything in the world not to have kids, but ended up having 4 kids. But, I don't know, nothing unusual. I don't think. Just I don't know. We started out in a van, lived in our van for quite a while, and She worked with me for a long time. Got our own place and everything up there, and had Joe. I don't know. We just worked all over Arkansas and Missouri. Got to know a lot of people up that way. And, I can remember us going through a small tornado up there while we was working on a 3-story condominium, and it broke all the doors, broke a bunch of windows while we was in the building, and the parking lot was just turned into a river, basically. That was kind of interesting. But, eventually my mom got sick and needed help up here in Tennessee, so we come out here to help her, and she ended up leaving us the property. But, well, we had Wyatt first in Arkansas, too. And then, I think, then we come here to Tennessee, and we had Waylon and Summer. So they love it.
What type of things did you guys do as a family, or what kind of type of things does Candace do with the kids? I know that I've seen a lot of photographs and videos on there, and the kids are, running around and doing all sorts of outdoorsy stuff. What kind of things did they like to do?
I have to be honest, once we started having kids, she wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. You can't trust people with your kids. So she stayed at home, and I worked constantly. And so she got to be with them a lot. Thank goodness she got to be with them. But I just worked all the time. And when I get home, I could enjoy some time with the kids and some family time. But for the most part, I was always working and always in trouble because I didn't spend enough time going out places and stuff, because, you get a day off, you want to do stuff, but you're just so tired and wore out, so.
Yeah, you work a pretty physical job.
Yeah, so I was always in the hot water from Candace for not doing more to go here and there and everywhere. I tried. I did the best I could. But,
So, do they like to go swimming or fishing or?
Oh yeah, we tried. One of the favorite spots up here is up here at that lake up here. But we got a canoe and other stuff. I'd always take the kids with me out on the job site, Josie and Wyatt, and they find a big old dirt pile, and that's where they'd sit all day and play in the dirt all day, and they had a blast.
Right. So when Summer was born, how did that change your life? I mean, I know it's a huge difference whenever you have boys and then you have a girl. I know that, in our family, I have 2 boys and a girl, and then I have a girl that I have, that I'm taking care of now, my granddaughter. I've had her for a long time, and, I know that, my husband, he's wrapped around her finger.
Yeah, quite a shock having her. Of course, I was there when she was born C-section, and when the doctor pulled her out, he handed her straight to me, and I was, it amazed me that she just wanted me. I don't know why, even as a baby, she just wanted me. And, she wanted her mom too, don't get me wrong, but she really wanted me more than I don't. boggles my mind. I've never seen anything like that in my life. And, you know, and anybody, you know, when she got older, I mean, I held her, you know, for the first 18 months, I'd say she had to help me. And when it's time to go to bed, she said, "Dad, will you take me downstairs and put me, you know, lay with me for a while?" I'd go down there. I'd lay with her for a while until she went to sleep, you know, and I'd, you know, usually go back upstairs or whatever. But yeah, I've never seen anything like that in my entire life. And, you know, she was a tough little girl. She was so tough. I mean, she didn't care what anybody said about her, whatever, you know. But if I just said one word, like in a mean tone, she would break down, start crying. But Daddy, and just have tears running down her eyes. And I'd have to apologize to her 10 times, and I'd have to take back whatever I said. Sorry, I said it. I'm sorry, and give her a big hug and everything. And I've never seen anything like that in my life. I don't know.
I grew up in a family with all girls, and we were all really close with our dad. We were all daddy's little girls, and it sounds like that's she looked up to you. You know, she was a daddy's girl, and you know, my sons were a lot closer to me. My daughter was a lot closer, you know, to her dad, and you know, but my sons were always closer with me than, you know, but so. I know that, you know, I just really feel like, you know, there's been a lot of, you know, I feel like we need to refocus everything back onto summer. I feel like there's been a lot of outward things. We're not going to talk about any of those. And I just feel like, you know, we need to touch base because I know that there's a lot of businesses down there in your area that, you know, we don't have flyers in. You know, we Can Bring You Hope has faxed a 200-mile radius of flyers. And, you know, it boggles my mind that there's not flyers in the businesses down there. And, you know, we are planning on coming down there in September and, you know, trying to get out more flyers. You know, we have some other groups that we work with, some other advocacy groups that we work with that are sharing, you know, the flyers. And, you know, I don't care, as far as I'm concerned, I don't care whose flyers they share, as long as they're sharing summer space. Because somebody has to know something, or somebody has seen her somewhere. And, you know, I've had people ask me, you know, why do you have your tip line on there? You're not working with, you know, TBI. Well, I never said I was working with TBI, but that tip line is on there for a reason. It's on there because people call our tip line and people leave information on there. And I've gotten information for Summer's case, and I turn it over to TBI. And people feel comfortable coming to us because we are not police, and because they can talk to us and we can, you know, get information from them and not release their names to the police. And we turn it over. And, you know, we've done that since we opened in 2016. And so, you know, or 2017, sorry. And we, you know, we can get information over to police, and, you know, it just, that's what it is, you know, and it helps. It helps, you know, all of these cases that, you know, that we work on, not just Summer. So, you know, I would be amiss if I said, if I put Summer's flyer out there and didn't have our tip line on there, I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that. People don't have to call that, but it's there if people want to call that. I'm not forcing anybody to call that. So, I mean, we all know, if, you know, do you want to go over anything about the day she went missing? If not, that's okay. I mean, you've told this story 1,000 times. I just really feel like, you know, I feel like I wanted to give you a voice where it was just focusing on Summer, you know, and just, you know, what would you say to the people that have Summer, or that took Summer?
Well, I've said a lot of things to the people that's got her, you know. Right. Tried to address that. Apparently, you know, they don't care. And, you know, and I've been I've been going around here, around our area and other areas at night, you know, and not in the night, but, you know, in the evening. And, but you just meet a lot of opposition. People don't want you in around their areas, you know. And that battle that you're trying to fight against the whole world, trying to find your little girl and everybody's fighting you all the way around. And you know, there's these areas and these people you just got to question them. You got to get in there. You know what?
Right.
And how do you do that? How do you fight a criminal element or whatever, and get inside their head or whatever? And,
you know, we've done a bunch of stuff behind the scenes, and a lot of it we haven't even shared with you. We've given you bits and pieces of stuff. And there's a reason why we do that, you know, because I don't want anything that we have found or, you know, that we've dug into, I don't want that released to the public because I don't want it to jeopardize Summer's case. If it turns out to be something that can be helpful, you know, we turn everything over to CBI, and, you know, we give everything that we find to them. Spoken to a couple other people that we've given, that we've decided that we thought it was a good thing to do. They were, search organizations and, you know what I mean, and things like that. But we also have, a group of people, like I said earlier, that we are getting together, that, we're going to come down there and we're going to do some things down there. I'm not going to be specific about it, but, we don't just sit on our hands. We try to, dig in and do what we can.
Well, right. But, I don't know what the police are doing. I feel like I need to go out and look into certain areas, because I do have a past. And I know, if I was in one of these places, I would want my dad to come looking for me at all costs.
Right.
I just wished I had some help.
Well, that's what we're working on. You know what I mean? We're working on getting people down there to, help. We have some people that we have, that are focusing on helping you do some of that, and some people that are focusing on, doing, some more prayer vigils, which, I know that sounds, it just, I can't help but say that we have to pray. And, we have to keep our face out there.
I know you guys are doing everything you can. I know that.
Right.
They're doing everything they can, but
right.
I just feel that, I wish some people from this area would help me. And maybe I'm not asking in the right way. Maybe it's my fault.
Well, you're a grieving father, and Candace is a grieving mother, and, that's why I'm saying that, we're getting people down there that are going to assist you, and, and they can maybe, help you do things a different way than what you're doing. We've talked about this 1,000 times, when you're in the middle of a hole, you don't dig down, you look up. And that's the only way that you're going to get out of this. You know what I mean? That Summer is going to be found is if we keep her name out in the public, and we keep people looking at her face.
Right.
Mary,
okay,
you want to talk?
Yeah, this is Mary. I just want to say, too, you shouldn't be searching alone. It's too dangerous for you to search alone.
Yeah, I know. Yes, it is.
I mean, you could get hurt, or, if you did find Summer, they'll try to set you up. You just got to be careful with yourself, too.
Yeah.
You need to be around.
Well, we don't when we go out and we do boots on the ground searches, I'll be honest with you, and Mary's been there for numerous searches that we've done. We do not let the family actually search. We have you at the meeting point, and then we have other people out there doing things because, you know, if she's in the woods somewhere, let's just say, I don't want you to come across that. That's not something that you should be seeing.
Well, no.
You know, and because believe me, it's not something that coming from somebody who has not found their family member, I've found other people, and it's not something that you easily forget. I cannot imagine finding my child or finding my loved one, you know, and you don't want to contaminate the crime scene.
Right. Absolutely.
You know?
No.
So, well, I know that, you know, this was very hard for you because this is not, you know, an easy subject to talk about because this is your baby.
Right.
But,
you know how cruel all this social media has been, you know, this unbelievable cesspool of evil. And when you get someone like Summer out of the blue, or I shouldn't say out of the blue, but, you know, come into your life like she has, like a whirlwind, just took my heart and, you know, just so beautiful, so sharing, so loving every way, always had a smile on her face and just loved with all she had. And then the evil takes her away and all this evil cesspool starts all over again. I've had this, you know, kind of stuff about my whole life like this. And I'm sure everybody has, you know, and understands that. But she was stolen, you know, and I turned to the wrong places, you know, Facebook, you know, but...
You know, I don't think people, unless you're in this situation, I actually have another podcast I'm going to be doing in a couple of days. I'm going to be releasing in a couple of days that, you know, I have some bigger cases like yours, like, you know, higher profile cases. And, you know, I'm meeting with the family members from those cases because I want people to understand the ramifications of social media. Social media can be a wonderful tool, but social media can also be a horrible tool. Yeah. You know, I've had people dox me and, you know, post things about me, and, you know, my life is already an open book. I've been doxed several times, and the people that I work with and the people that know me know all about me. And, you know, all the families, we have 47 active cases that we work right now. And the families that we work with know how I am. We've had numerous, I mean, Dawn, you know, I talk to you several times a day.
Yes, you do.
You know, and I talk to Candace several times a day.
Yeah.
And, you know, and it is what it is, you know. I don't hide myself. I don't hide behind things. My business is registered to my name, and, you know, it is what it is. You know, I'm honest and I'm forthcoming, and, you know, I'm here for Summer, just like I'm here for all of the other people that are missing and all of the other victims that were murdered that we deal with, their cases. And we are here to help try to guide you through this horrific situation that you're going through. Go ahead.
How could somebody turn around and say that that's evil? You know, you try to do something good and people say it's evil.
Well, you know, I'm also an ordained minister and I swear, so maybe that's it. I don't know. I don't know. You know, it is what it is. You know, I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and that's okay. You know, but I work with the other organizations that, that we trust and that we feel that we can work with. And, you know, we share everybody's flyers on our pages and in our groups because I don't care. Something about so-and-so's flyer might catch their eye and they might want to share that one instead of ours. I don't whatever, floats their boat. As long as they're sharing the flyers of all of our missing cases and all of the missing cases out there in the world and, in the United States, then it's done, as long as somebody can bring answers home and we can bring hope to people, and that's how we got our organization. We can bring you hope. I had a missing loved one that was gone for over 2 years. Luckily, I found her.
Yeah.
And I brought her home, and it wasn't easy, and it wasn't just, right here, but it is what it is. And sorry. And that's part of the reason why we can bring you hope is here. Because the people that volunteer here have been in this situation. We, like I said, we deal with the missing, we deal with the murdered, we deal with domestic violence, we deal with all sorts of crimes of people that have not gotten justice, and we work with those families and help them communicate with the law enforcement and help them communicate with their communities and try to keep the word out. So,
good deal.
So,
good.
But do you have anything else you want to say for tonight?
For
today?
Well, for me personally, just God bless people, the good people, and thanks for your prayer.